Some of you are going to hate what I'm going to say right now, and it's the most controversial thing you will ever hear. Your gut intuition will hear and know the truth of my words, but your ego and judgment may try to cast this away. And you are involved with this, whether you're aware of it or not. I help men overcome sexual traumas, porn addiction, and sex-related addictions. What I'm about to share with you is something that everyone in our society needs to hear. It involves sexuality, prison time, children, judgment, hate, and healing. You see, there is a formula for healing. And when we heal, we no longer commit the same actions that we did when we were in a hurt state. And every sexual crime and every addiction is merely a symptom of unresolved trauma. Every time. Non-negotiable. And when we heal the trauma, we break the subconscious patterns that were creating the destructive behaviors. Sometimes these behaviors are things such as addictions, self-destructive acts. Sometimes these behaviors are sexual violence or offense against another individual. And there are actually prepubescent children who are registered sex offenders because those children were sexually abused at very young age. And when they were still a child and didn't understand it, they went on to commit a sexual act or crime or action against another child. And they weren't even aware of what they were doing. And now they're a criminal for life? Let's go back to the equation of healing. Healing equals safety plus vulnerability. Healing equals safety plus vulnerability. Know that for now, and let's put it on the back burner. And how do we break the cycle of people who are committing these sexual acts? It is not by shunning them or by having anger or judgment towards them, because that does not create the felt sense of safety that is mandatory for them to heal. When they heal, they change the subconscious programming to say something new and different about who they are and what they do. This means that when they heal, through the felt sense of safety, they can rewrite the subconscious programming to be one that does not hurt other people anymore. So when we shun, we hate, we cast anger on those who have committed sexual crimes, it removes their ability to access the felt sense of safety when we do it on an individual level or a society level. It makes it very, very difficult for them to heal. And guess what? If they don't heal, then their subconscious programming is still set up to go commit those same actions. Those actions were born from their own subconscious wounding. The ones who commit sexual crimes as adults, the only reason why that happens is because when they were little children, they were sexually abused. And it got written deeply and viscerally into their subconscious programming as a deep part of their identity. And subconsciously, it's a part of their survival. Just like we will do anything for food, water, air, our sexuality is equally as important. And when it is rewritten so viscerally on a subconscious level in those young and early ages where they're imprinted upon so strongly, and then they go and act out as adults, say committing a sexual act against a child, it's what their subconscious mind knows and is programmed. Programmed like a computer program can only do what it's programmed to do and nothing else. Until you rewrite the programming. Until you rewrite the programming. The only way for the programming to get rewritten in these cases, for any addiction, any trauma, anyone who has committed a sexual crime, is for them to access the felt sense of safety. The felt sense of safety, the felt sense of safety. Healing equals safety plus vulnerability. When it is revealed about who they are and what they have done, and they are met in a way where they feel safe, that is the only condition which allows them to heal and rewrite the subconscious programming. This isn't rocket science. It's psychology mixed with neurobiology, neuropsychology. We create the neurochemical concoction for healing. We jack up that oxytocin and feel safe, and rewrite the subconscious programming on a deep and visceral level. Now, this does not ever mean that we condone the actions. Absolutely not. It means that we can come with an understanding, and that understanding allows for compassion to take place. That compassion allows for the felt sense of safety. And so by shunning, isolating, judging, or wishing death threats upon those who have committed these crimes, that is the very thing that perpetuates these crimes, because it denies the opportunity for healing by the ones who are the most wounded. And let me ask you this. Let's create a hypothetical situation where, say, there's a 5-year-old little boy who is sexually abused. It is now a deep and visceral part of his subconscious programming. And when you hear the story of his sexual abuse, that poor and terrified 5-year-old little boy, we naturally have compassion for him. We naturally have compassion for him. We want to save him and rescue him and protect him and love him and nurture him and allow him to heal and do whatever it takes for that little boy to heal. Well, guess what? That little boy is going to grow up, hit adolescence, hit puberty, experience sexuality in a new way as an adult man. And that same subconscious programming is still there because he has not healed from it yet. So at what point did we switch from having love and compassion for that little boy who was hurt and switch to having hate and rage and death threats towards him? At no point did he ever deserve the hate or the judgment. He only ever deserved the kindness and the compassion so that he could heal, so that he would not commit those crimes. And I will tell you what needs to happen. We as a society need to create a very, and I mean very, safe place for these men and sometimes women to voice what happened to them as children so that they feel safe enough to heal from it, so that they do not go and commit the crime, commit the act, and perpetuate the trauma, the pain, the PTSD, the cycle. The way we break the cycle is not by throwing them in prison and isolating them and hating on them. They'll get out of prison one day, and that prison atmosphere, most likely in many cases, did not provide the felt sense of safety. No. We need to provide the felt sense of safety to the strongest degree capable, so that they heal from it and do not go on to commit the crime, the act. Do not go on to pass on the trauma. This is the only way it can happen. This is the only way it can happen. So when you hear the story of an individual who is a registered sex offender, it is your duty to send them love and kindness and compassion. It is your duty to send them love and compassion and kindness. It is your duty to do whatever it is you can to help them to tap into the felt sense of safety, a neurophysiological state that involves elevated oxytocin. Healing cannot take place without this. And it can be cultivated so much easier when there is another individual or group of individuals or even society who is helping to supply that felt sense of safety by replacing judgment with compassion and understanding. And every time we have the true understanding, judgment automatically gets replaced by compassion every time. If the compassion is not there, if you are not putting out the compassion, it's for one reason and one reason only. You are lacking the understanding. When you have the understanding, your judgment will get replaced with compassion 100% of the time, no matter who the individual is and no matter what the story is. And I know that it's so easy to just get into that anger place of judgment. And when we vocalize it and voice it, it's actually an ego boosting activity because you're announcing to the world, oh, I would never be like that. In fact, I'm so far removed in my identity of someone who would be like that. Let me voice how angry I am about people who do those types of things. It is actually a selfish ego boosting activity rooted in fear. It's a selfish, ego-boosting activity rooted in fear when we show up with anger and towards those who are suffering the most. And those who are suffering the most oftentimes are the ones who have committed the most horrendous crimes. We do not ever condone the crimes. We do not ever allow them to just be here without doing anything. No, it is our duty to do whatever we can to help prevent and eliminate those actions that are crimes that are born from a place of trauma every time. If we all operated on this would actually rewrite the entire prison system. It would be turned around so quickly. What if instead of prison, it was called the Felt Sense of Safety Centers? The Center for the Felt Sense of Safety. Because that is what we need. That is how we cultivate safety within ourselves as individuals, with the individuals who are hurting, and on a grand society level. By having felt sense of safety centers, not prisons, felt sense of safety centers, rooted in healing, centered around healing. All right, so let me check in with you. How is your intuition doing on this? Your intuition and your ego are going to be on opposite sides of the spectrum. Your ego will have the judgment, the anger, the hate. Your intuition will have the kindness, the love, the understanding, the compassion. Where along that spectrum are you right now? And have you shifted anywhere along this spectrum as a result of hearing these words? Have an amazing day, and if you know someone who needs to heal from a sex or porn-related addiction, send them my way.